My child, listen well, for what I am about to tell you is a tale that dances between shame and grace, between what people call punishment and what the heavens call destiny. In this life, you see, what looks like a curse in the daylight can become a blessing when the night turns quiet. Her name was Isabella Marquez, the daughter of a powerful Spanish nobleman who ruled lands stretching farther than the eyes could see. Her father was proud, his heart stiff like dry yam. He measured worth by gold and title, not by kindness or heart. Isabella was his only daughter, the apple of his eye once, until pride took its toll. From childhood, Isabella was different. She was not the slender, porcelain beauty the nobles showed off at their grand feasts. No, she was full-figured, soft, and radiant, a woman shaped like comfort itself. Her laughter filled the halls, her kindness warmed servants' hearts, and her hands often fed the poor when her father turned them away. But the word of the nobles was cruel, my friend. They mocked her body, whispering that no man of status would ever desire her. Her father, Don Alonso, heard those whispers and they burned his pride. He wanted to prove to the other lords that his daughter would marry high, but Isabella refused. She did not want a marriage built on power or deceit. She dreamed of love, simple, honest love, the kind she had seen in the eyes of the peasants who walked her father's land. One day, she spoke back to him. "Father," she said, her voice trembling but firm, "I will not marry the Duke. His heart is cruel. I have seen how he treats his servants. I would rather live among the poor than lie beside a wicked man." That was the spark that set the storm ablaze. The proud nobleman's face darkened. In his rage, he declared, "Then let it be so. You wish to live among savages. You shall. By sunrise, you will be taken across the desert and given to the Apaches as payment for peace." The servants gasped. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. The Apaches, fierce and proud, had long been at war with the Spanish settlers. To be given to them was to vanish from noble life forever. But Isabella, that woman, had a lion's heart wrapped in velvet. She wept at night, yes, but not for herself. She wept for her father's soul, hardened like iron, and for the loneliness that sat upon his shoulders like a vulture. By dawn, she was gone. The desert stretched endlessly, like God's own judgment. The soldiers who escorted her were silent, ashamed. When they reached the Apache camp, the chief, Tasonk, stood waiting, tall, proud, his eyes as sharp as eagle's claws. Beside him was his son, Koa, a warrior with skin bronze as the setting sun and eyes that held both fire and calm. He looked upon Isabella, and though she stood trembling, dusty and weary, something in her moved his spirit. The Spaniard spoke in haste. "Our Lord offers this woman as a peace tribute. She is of noble blood." The chief nodded slowly. "Then she will be treated with honor." But when the soldiers left, laughter rippled through the camp. "A noble woman," they mocked. "She is soft. She will not last a moon among us." Isabella heard it all, yet she did not break. Instead, she bowed her head, whispering, "Let them laugh. The earth laughs too before the rain falls." Koa was tasked to watch over her. He built her a small hut beside the river and brought her food, though at first she refused to eat. "You think I am your prisoner," she said softly. "But I am only a woman looking for peace." He studied her. "Peace," he replied, "is not given. It is made." That night, Isabella prayed beneath the stars. She looked to the heavens and said, "Lord, if this is my punishment, then teach me to find beauty in it. If this is my exile, let my heart not become a desert too." Days turned into weeks. The people watched as the woman they called the noble captive began to walk beside them. She fetched water, learned their songs, tended to their children. Her laughter returned, soft but sure, like dawn breaking after a long night. Koa often watched her quietly. One evening, he said, "You do not fear us." "Why?" She smiled, brushing sand from her hands. because I have known cruelty from those who wore fine clothes. You, at least, have honest eyes. That night, Koa sat by the river long after she had gone to sleep. The moonlight danced on the water, and he thought of her words. Honest eyes, she had said. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Seasons passed. Isabella's skin grew sun-kissed, her laughter became music to the tribe. Even the old women who had mocked her began to say, "This one, she carries a gentle spirit." But love, my child, love does not always come as thunder. Sometimes it comes as a quiet river, washing away the walls you built around your heart. One evening, a sandstorm rolled across the land. The tribe scattered for shelter, but a little boy was caught outside. Without thinking, Isabella ran into the storm, her skirts whipping like winds. She found the child half buried, coughing and crying, and shielded him with her body until Koa found them both. When he lifted her from the sand, her face was bruised, her lips cracked, but her eyes still shone. "The child is safe," she whispered before fainting. For 3 days, she lay weak with fever. Koa sat beside her, grinding herbs, cooling her forehead with wet cloths. He prayed to the spirits for her life. "Take my strength if you must," he murmured. "But do not take her." When she awoke, she saw him asleep at her bedside, his hand still in hers. Something broke open inside her heart. When Isabella recovered, Koa brought her to the hills overlooking the valley. The sky was white, the earth red as fire. He said quietly, "You came here as a gift of peace. But now, you are the peace itself." Her eyes filled with tears. "Koa, I was sent here as punishment." He touched her hand gently. "Then your father's punishment was the Creator's mercy. For he gave you where you were needed most." "Oh, my child, that is the kind of love that heals the soul, not the one that flatters the body, but the one that sees your spirit and says, 'You are home.'" They were wed beneath the open sky. The tribe danced and sang, for by then they loved her like one of their own. The noble daughter had become the mother of their village, the one who taught the women to weave new patterns and the men to forgive old wounds. Years passed. Far away, her father, Don Alonso, grew old and bitter. His lands had fallen, his riches dwindled, and the men he once trusted had betrayed him. One night, haunted by guilt, he said to his servants, "Find my daughter. If she still lives, tell her father's heart is broken." Months later, a small group of travelers arrived in the Apache camp. Among them was a weary old man. He stumbled from his horse and fell to his knees before Isabella. "My daughter," he whispered. "Forgive an old fool." The people watched in silence as Isabella knelt beside him, her eyes wet with mercy. "Father," she said, "you sent me away to find my punishment. But I found love instead. I cannot hate the road that led me here." The old man wept like a child. Koa stood beside Isabella, resting a hand on her shoulder. "Your father is welcome here," he said. "In our tribe, forgiveness is stronger than blood." That night, the campfire burned brighter than ever. The old nobleman watched as the people danced, their laughter rising to the stars. He saw how they looked at his daughter, not with pity or mockery, but with reverence. And for the first time in his life, he understood what true nobility was. When dawn broke, he spoke softly to her. "You have become more than I ever dreamed. I measured worth by gold, but you measure it by kindness. You are richer than any of us." Isabella smiled. "No, father. I am only what love allowed me to be." He died peacefully weeks later, buried in the red earth beside the people who had become her family. On his grave, Isabella laid a single white flower and whispered, "May your pride finally rest." Koa came to her side and said, "He came to you for forgiveness, and you gave it freely. That is the way of true warriors." She turned to him, eyes shining. "And you, my love, taught me that strength is not in conquest but in compassion." Years later, When Isabella's hair turned silver and her steps grew slow, children would gather around her by the fire and say, "Grandmother, tell us again how you came here." And she would smile, that same soft, noble smile, and begin, "Once, I was a woman punished for love, but I was loved more deeply than I ever thought possible." Then she would look toward the stars, her heart peaceful. "Remember this, my children," she'd say, "the world may shame what it does not understand, but love, true love, sees beauty where others see flaw, sees strength where others see weakness. When you give kindness, you light a fire that no storm can put out. So, my friend, when next you see someone mocked for who they are, too big, too poor, too different, remember Isabella and the Apache who loved her. Remember that what men call punishment may be the Creator's way of leading you to your destiny. For in this life, it is not where you begin that defines you, but how your heart learns to love despite the pain. And that, my child, is the story of the noble woman who was cast out in shame but crowned in grace.